Hello and welcome back to the channel. Emily Dickinson wrote in one of her poems, "Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality." Now it's hard to imagine death, Emily Dickinson, and immortality riding in a cart. It's hard to think the meaning of such a union. However, in Emily Dickinson's case, it was death which could bring her immortality. The fact that her father was against females writing poetry, let alone publishing it, she knew that it was only after her death that her poems were going to be published, and only after that she would truly become immortal. Now, Emily Dickinson might have been talking about physical death, but there is more to death than just the stopping of the bodily functions. Although most of us are aware of death in its physical sense, but we are more likely to progress to a sort of mental death if we do not educate our brains to stay alive throughout our lives. Now, there may be different ways to keep your brain alive, but the most powerful of these is the act of reading books, reading news articles, etc. Joseph Henrich, a Harvard professor and anthropologist, thinks that the culture of reading brought on by the Protestant Reformation in the 16th century Europe essentially rewired the brains of the European people. And because their brains were different from the brains of other people, therefore they went on to become more successful people, better scientists and better inventors, and progress and prosper in different ways. So here's what Henrich said about the European brain. Your brain has been altered, neurologically rewired as you acquire a particular skill. This renovation has left you with a specialized area in your left ventral occipital temporal region, shifted facial recognition into your right hemisphere, reduced your inclination towards holistic visual processing, increased your verbal memory, and thickened your corpus callosum, which is the information highway that connects the left and right hemispheres of your brain. Okay, so let's see 5 ways that our brains are affected by reading. Reading strengthens connections in your brain. Reading kind of facilitates new connections between different parts of the brain. When you read a novel, for example, it increases communication between different parts of the brain that control language processing. The act of reading creates new neurons in the brain, a process known as neurogenesis. When you read material which requires thought, requires a lot of concentration and effort, it leads to the creation of new neurons, and these neurons then make new connections both with each other and with older networks. So in essence, your brain becomes better wired and better connected with its different parts. Reading prevents age-related cognitive decline. Humans are able to learn, remember, and make judgments more than any other animal is because we have bigger brains. But over time, our cognitive abilities are likely to fade away. But scientists believe that reading can reduce age-related cognitive decline and protect cognitive functions. A study in 2020, for example, found that those who read 1 or more times a week were less likely to have cognitive decline. Older people who read more often had a reduced risk of cognitive decline compared to those who read less often. Reading is also associated with a lower risk of dementia. Reading reduces stress levels. Research has found that reading for just 30 minutes can reduce the physical and emotional signs of stress. For example, a study in 2009 of full-time undergraduate students compared the effects of yoga, humorous videos, and reading on stress levels. It found that students who read news articles for 30 minutes experienced a decrease in physical signs of stress like heart rate and blood pressure compared to before they began the activity. They also had lower scores on stress surveys. And number 4, reading improves memory and concentration. Regular reading means the brain is practicing mental processes regularly, processes which involve memory functioning and concentration exercises. A study in 2013 of elderly men and women found that people who participated in mentally challenging activities like reading and writing had a slower rate of memory decline compared to those who did not engage in such activities. Number 5, reading may even help you live longer. Reading is also linked to higher life expectancy. A large 12-year study published in 2017 found that reading books is associated with a 20% reduction in risk of mortality compared to those who didn't read. It for today's video. In the next video, I'll talk about the effects of reading on our minds, in what ways our personality is changed if we engage in consistent reading activities. If you want to support this channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon, and I'll be with you in the next video. Thank you very much.